S402, body image. We just wanted to be fine. Hi, you guys. So, welcome to another episode of the Kendall Doyle Show. I am sitting here with comedian Chris Siretz. I love Chris so much. We're not going to talk about where we met, but
the feeling's mutual.
Yes, he's such a great personality. He understands me. He doesn't take me too serious. And I don't take him serious, and we just have a good time.
Exactly. I feel like we very much vibe, as you Gen Z kids are saying these days.
And he's older than me, so you always have to make sure he let me know.
Yeah, I remind you constantly.
That I'm a little girl.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, I'm happy to be here.
Yes.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
No problem. Me and Chris have talked a lot, and that's why I wanted to do this, because the show is about, it's kind of like I keep saying, like a millennial therapy a little bit, or kind of like for this new generation that's here and that's thriving and that's coming up in the world as adults. We are dealing with issues, and I want to confront them and face them and make this a space where we can talk about it. And I also want to talk about the good things that are happening in the generation. So I think a perfect topic would be body image. Mm-hmm. And how we deal with that, how we navigate that in this society. You've shared things with me, I've shared things with you, and I think that's how we connected.
Yeah.
So if you want the floor first, I can do it first and just share my story a little bit about it.
Yeah, tell me. I know a little bit. You're a former fatty. I'm a former fatty. It's kind of what we bonded over. I call myself a former fatty, so if you don't identify as a former fatty, that's okay.
I used to be fat. No, I used to be a chubby girl.
How much weight did you measure it? So some people don't measure in pounds. Some people just are like, oh, I went from a size whatever to whatever, or I'm more comfortable, whatever. I know the exact amount of weight that I was at my highest and at my lowest. So I know that. But how did you measure yours?
No. So I did not measure it. It's just how I looked. Okay, so this is not a funny story, because this really is what happened. I was a fine size, but I was a spoiled little girl. And I got whatever I want, and I ate whatever I want. Whatever I wanted, my mom would get me. Mm-hmm. And in Texas, I kind of grew up like in the hood. Mm-hmm. And they had like a barbecue spot right up the street. And it was called Smoky Joe's. And it had the best baked potatoes ever. And so every day I wanted a baked potato. And she would take me. And I'm like, when I grew up, I was mad about it. I'm like, why would you take me to eat a baked potato every single day just because I wanted one? And it was to the point like they knew us, because she would just bring me in there. And I'll just get big, and she let me eat. They always let me eat what I want and fed me, because they just thinking she's a little girl and that's baby fat and she'll get over it, which I did. But I went through a lot, and I felt a lot just by being that size, because other kids wasn't.
Right. Mm-hmm. So when I was growing up, I'm one of four. And I grew up in a household with, like, not a lot of money. You know what I mean? We didn't grow up with a lot of money. And I always say this. A 8-pack of Little Debbie cakes is cheaper than a salad. So, like, when your mom is out shopping at the supermarket, she's got 4 mouths to feed, you can pick up a Cosmic Brownie box for your kids.
Right.
And you can, we didn't know any better. Like, we grew up and it was just like, whatever. That was what's in the house. So I understand where you're coming from. It's a little bit of a different circumstance, but I understand what you're saying. Like so at my heaviest, was in high school. I lost 81 pounds when I was 19 into 20.
Wow.
So in high school, my high school, my house, and the McDonald's were in a straight line, and I would drive past my house to go to McDonald's. Stop at McDonald's. I would get like anywhere between a 6 and a 20-piece nugget and some fries, and I would eat it and then circle back home, throw out the McDonald's in the trash can outside so nobody knew that I was eating it, and then go inside. That was after like a full school day with a full school lunch, where at lunch I had friends who were giving me their lunch because I was like that fat kid. Like, I don't want this food. Chris, you going to have it? And me, I kind of fell into that pattern of being like, hell yeah, I'll have it. Plus, you know this, I'll do anything for a laugh. So if people are like, oh, Chris will have 2 cheeseburgers, I'd be like, yeah, watch me double fist these cheeseburgers. And that's what I would do. And it was gratifying in every way. People were paying attention to me, but I was also like eating everything that I could. It was just a weird habit to get into. What made you lose the weight?
I started playing sports.
What sport? I can't imagine you with any sort of athletic. I mean, I'm thinking like croquet or like badminton.
No, Chris. Like, besides me being like this girly girl that you see, I'm a whole like gangster. Like, I can get my hands dirty.
Oh,
like,
you roll deep.
I can get my hands dirty. I did basketball. And I was good at basketball.
Wow.
Because my dad used to play, like, he almost played professionally. And so he taught me growing up, because he didn't have a boy. So he taught me how to play.
Right.
And so
all 5'2" of you just ran down that basketball court. And
I played basketball.
I'm impressed. I would have never known that.
I loved volleyball. Mm-hmm. I was very good at that. But I think basketball is what made me lose weight, because all the conditioning and stuff like that. What made me want to lose weight, that's what made me lose weight. But what made me want to lose weight is because I still had that girly girl thing in me, you know? So I still want to be cute and attractive. You know, I was fast. I liked boys. Mm-hmm. And I'm like...
You were fast? Fast in basketball or fast in life?
Fast in period. I was a fast, like, well, what I mean by I was just like boys, you know.
You told me that your grandmother watches, and now we're talking about how fast you are.
Well, I was
Grandma,
sorry,
you could change, tune out from it. You can go make yourself a Hot Pocket and come back, because this is about to get saucy.
No, I was like in elementary school. I've always had like a little boyfriend or whatever, and they liked me even though I was fat. That's the thing. So that's what I want to talk about with confidence. Even though I was fat, I was confident. I was always confident.
Interesting. I wasn't.
You was? See?
No.
See, that's different.
No.
I was always a confident girl.
Well, listen. I say that I'm 32 years old now, and I say I didn't really get attractive, and that's like a loose, like there is a parenthetical quotation around attractive, like until my late 20s. Like I really believe that. I feel like I didn't have anybody interested in me until when I lost weight. So then that was also like a psychological mindfuck, because it's like once I lost weight, so I lost weight and then I came out. And that's when boys started to notice me, obviously, because I was getting more comfortable with my own sexuality. Right. But on top of it, I was like, oh, damn. Like, I remember my first boyfriend, the only reason we dated was because he called me cute. We had nothing in common.
See?
Nothing. But he called me cute. And in my mind, I was like, damn, this is the first person that I was attracted to that was, like, attracted to me. So I guess we got a date. And he was terrible and not the right guy for me, obviously. But it was just, like, at that age, I literally thought, like, this may never happen again. I may never find another person who finds me attractive. So like you just
stuck with whatever. And see, that's comes the self-esteem issue or whatever. And with me, I was confident, but I always had like in the back of my mind some insecurity about it. So I think what made me kind of okay, because I wasn't like the fat kid in school. Like, no, I was a chubby girl, but I wasn't like the fat. I had a friend in our friend group that was a little bit bigger than me. So, and that's my, like, she's still one of my childhood friends, so I hope she don't get upset. But she was the biggest one there.
Is she thinner now? Did she lose weight too?
She lost weight too. She's a baddie now, but she was the biggest one out of our friend group. So I think she kind of felt it more or dealt with it more than I did, because people looked at her as the actual fat girl.
Right.
But still with me, it was just like certain stuff I couldn't wear. And then when I would like hang out, really not in school, but when I would hang out with my cousins or whatever, I was like, they were like very smaller than me. And they would like, I remember me and my cousins, we would dress up like we like Beyonce, like Destiny's Child, like a music group. And these girls would put on sports bras to like dance. And I was looking at them like, now.
Right, you're taking the tablecloth and wrapping the tablecloth around your body.
Now you know I can't take my shirt off. And that made me mad. Like, why can't I take my shirt off?
Right.
And I think that kind of goes into me dressing, once I did lose weight, dressing a little bit more promiscuous because I wanted to, I felt comfortable, and it's like what I couldn't do before, like I can do now.
Do you still think of yourself as a promiscuous dresser, or did you swing back a little bit the other direction? Because when I first lost weight, the second I could fit into a small, I started wearing smalls. Doesn't mean I should have been. You know what I mean? Like, I started wearing stuff that was probably a little too small, but because I could find, like, the first time, I swear to God, the first time I ever fit into Abercrombie and Fitch, because Abercrombie was like, that's like, ooh, there's supermodels on the bags, there's shirtless boys that work there. So like, I went there with my friend down at the South Street Seaport, walked in. She was shopping around. She was always she was average size, you know what I mean? She was always kind of smaller, petite, she was petite with giant boobs, but otherwise a petite girl. So she went in shopping, and I was like, oh, let me see. I had just started to, probably lost, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, somewhere 20 and 40 pounds.
Right.
And just for, kicks, I was like, let me try on this hoodie and just see it. And it was an extra large because Abercrombie didn't do double XLs at the time. So it was an extra large hoodie, and I barely got that zipper up, but you couldn't tell me shit. I was the supermodel on the bag that day. I was like, no, this is me. So then I started to buy stuff that were, because with the weight loss, I was always shopping because I was losing weight. I mean, I lost 50 pounds in 4 months, and then I lost the other 31 pounds over the course of a year. So I was constantly shopping because I was constantly losing weight. So then I would buy, I remember I had a friend who I worked with in retail, and we went out to lunch or something, and we were talking about clothing, and he and I were similar sizes, and he would often give me extra clothing because he worked in retail. He's like, I always get so much extra shit, whatever, would give it to me. And then he, one time he was like, what size are you? And I'm like, I'm a small. And he's like, you don't have to wear a small. You probably could use the medium. And at the time, I didn't want to hear that. I'm like, no, because at my biggest, I was a double X. So to go to a small, I'm like, no, I'm gonna go out and everything is gonna be tight and small and whatever. And looking back, I probably looked like a busted can of crescent rolls, but you couldn't tell me anything. So now I feel like I've swung back into the middle, where it's I'll dress a little bit more appropriately. I'll wear stuff that's maybe some stuff is a little tighter here or there. I feel like I finally am getting to know my real body rather than what it could be, should be kind of thing. So do you feel like you swung back, or are you still just out there dressing like a hi grandma?
I don't dress like a hi grandma. I don't think I dress like that. I think anymore.
Anymore.
No, I definitely did a little too much. But I'm just, besides me wanting to do that, I think also I'm just naturally like to be a little sexy.
Yeah.
But especially in New York, New York is staying here, you can't really dress like one. Because it's so cold outside.
Well, I always say it's hard to be a woman in New York City because, you can leave your house, fresh face and makeup, and then your hair done and your outfit, but by the time you, take the train and you sweat and it's smoggy and gross and the homeless guy spits at you, by the time you get to work, it didn't matter.
In Texas, I probably do. I probably am, I could, do my shorts a little shorter or whatever. But in New York, I don't have time to be a hoe. I mean, hi, grandma. I don't. But
in New York, you have to kind of consolidate your hoedom. It has to be you're going out, you're taking Uber to the club or the bar, so you can look cute when you get there, and Uber back home. You can't. It's not.
So what is okay? So for me, I'll tell you for me. So first, it was being skinny. That was the ideal image. Females just wanted to be the skinny was popping.
So when you say skinny, for you, did you never want curves? You didn't want boobs and butt? You just wanted skinny?
I just wanted to be thin. I wanted to be able to. I always had boobs, so that was just that. And sometimes I didn't even want boobs, but I was fine. I'm just fine with wearing something and I can have my stomach out a little bit and it's flat. I was confident in that. But being in the South, I was so insecure about going back to being fat. I was fine with looking like a bobblehead because I have this big head and then or not a bobblehead, a lollipop. I had this big head and then I'm like thin, and the boys in Texas, they like girls with booties. Mm-hmm. But I remember this boy, he told me, he said, you just had a face card. That's what he said.
A face card?
Yeah, he like my face. Like that's what they call it. Like when you have a pretty face.
God, I'm old. So he was saying that you just had a pretty face, but your body wasn't.
My body was
so like
just,
the opposite of a butterface.
Right. Mm-hmm. He was just like my body just wasn't what what he was like attracted to, because like girls in Texas, these girls look like full grown women. Right. They were thick.
Did you see that boy after he told you that? Did you continue to see him?
I wasn't talking to him. He was just telling me, like, I met him in high school and then we've met again, and he just told me, like, you know, what attracted him to me was my face. Like, he really didn't look at my body. When he saw my face, he wasn't down in my body. He was just saying, he was just saying that your body wasn't what I looked at first. But then and so I was like super skinny then, and I was content. Like, that's the thing. I really didn't care about society standards, because of the thing in my mind is I just don't want to be fat again. Right. So just because I'm like this skinny girl, I don't care. Because and really, like, in my family, I love to hear like them call me little when all my life they've called me fat. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I just wanted to keep the little image. Mm-hmm. So then when I went to college and I got the like freshman 15, like I was cool with that because, you know, it gave me a little bit. I was still little, but then after quarantine, I started getting that feeling again. Like, you getting fat.
Where your stomach hangs over your jeans a little bit more than it should.
And when you can't take a swimsuit picture, you might not need to wear that two-piece. You might need to, or you got to suck it in a little bit more. When you sleep, I started noticing I was gaining weight again and getting fat. When I sleep, my belly just, like, be out. And I've never had... Like, I'm like, what is this little flab while I'm going to sleep? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I started noticing that again, and it was just like, I got to do something.
Mm. What do you do? How do you weight manage? What do you do?
So I started doing things like low carb. I started looking into that. But I'll never keep up with it. I'll always like need a French fry or something, like bread. Yeah, like I needed bread. But I have now, like, I still eat my fries or whatever, but I try to do it in, like, I try to spread it out. If I do like some chicken strips, I probably won't do fries. Right. Or I don't really do burgers and stuff like. I try to not to do. But what really helped me was getting back into the gym.
So I lost weight 12 years ago. For 12 years, every time I meet somebody and it's the same. I can break down the conversations. Like, I can script it out for you. It's always like, oh yeah, I lost like 80 pounds 12 years ago, and people are like, oh my God, I would never think you were that fat. Which is also, it's a nice thing to hear, but then at the same point, it's kind of like, well, you can't really ever tell if somebody's lost that much weight, or you know. So then, then you get through that process, and then it's like, well, how'd you do it? Yeah. And that's always the question: how'd you do it? And people are always want like a secret that they haven't heard about. It's either that, or they just think they want to know if I had surgery, which I was 20. So I do think there should be like an age limit on surgery, because I'm like, I would hope at 20 you're really, really, like, I would recommend, and I'm not a nutritionist, I'm nothing, but for me personally, I was happy that I did it, just going to the gym and eating right. Right. And when I first went, I was eating, when I tell you I was having that McDonald's that I drove past my house for, I was eating that like 4 or 5 times a week. So my story of how I lost weight, back when I was 20, little gay kid on Staten Island, I thought that I was going to be the next big thing. I thought I was going to be this huge star. So I went to go, I woke up at like 9 o'clock in the morning, went to the Staten Island Mall, to the Picture People. I went to get headshots taken, and I knew like nothing about the business.
You were still fat then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I knew nothing about show business. Staten Island is the bubble. Like, you have no idea how to get off of it. So I was just kind of like, well, I know every time you watch TV, actors need headshots, so I'm going to go get headshots, and people are going to come knocking on my door. So I went to the picture people. I was super uncomfortable with myself because I was aware that I was fat, and I didn't like to take pictures back then. So I got there. All of my pictures are like super awkward, like grimacy, kind of hanging out, like just was not comfortable. So then they develop them right there. They'll develop whichever pictures you want. They develop my pictures. I look, and I was sitting on a stool for one of them, kind of looking like 3/4 over my shoulder, and my chin was on my shoulder. Like, oh my God. No one ever told me that that's how fat I was. Like, I had one of the, I have a round face, and I had like the big double chin, and especially when you kind of turn your neck, it sat on my shoulder. And I got that picture. It was like 9 o'clock in the morning on whatever day. It was actually the end of this month. March 31st is the day that I started my diet that changed my life.
How long?
That was 12 years ago. So this is where 2010.
Okay, that's when you started to like really see changes.
I went home and I looked at those pictures and was like, I swear to God, nobody ever. And then I was angry, like you said. Then you get mad because you're like, I have all these people in my life, and no one's ever been like, dude, you need to really lose weight. Like it's always they make like your family will say certain things. You know what I mean? Like my mom used to be like, oh, you really need like another plate or whatever. But you never like the serious conversation of like, hey, we're concerned about your weight was never there.
Right.
So I went home that day. I made an egg white omelet, and you couldn't tell me shit. I was Jillian Michaels. I was like the Biggest Loser. I did it all. So I started that day. I gave up drinking soda. I gave up fast food, and I started to eat a little bit better. And my first week, I lost 6 pounds. And that was the first time in my life that I had looked at the scale, and the scale went down. So then I was like, oh, I could do this. And then that was it. And so I lost 50 pounds in like 3 or 4 months. So then it was just like a rapid thing.
So, first of all, that is amazing.
Thank you.
That you did that. I wish I would have weighed myself, but I think I was just so young that I wasn't thinking like, that this is a journey that I'm on. I just started losing weight, and people started asking me the same thing. How did you do it? And it's like, to me, I couldn't give them no answer. Like, I started playing sports.
Right.
I had to work out every day after school. And it's like that weight just shed it off. Like, I did, and I will be honest. So I'll ask you, did you ever go into a point where you were like starving yourself?
I used to like feeling hungry. So this is probably where I should have seen like a nutritionist or something. So I ended up the lowest, the most amount of weight I lost was 81 pounds. And that brought me down to like 155 pounds. I'm 5'8"-ish, and I'm what the kids call slim thick. Slim in the right places, thick in the right places. But 155 is probably a little too thin for my body shape.
Yeah.
And at that point, though, I started to that was where I was looking at pictures. And of course, you from being fat, you're so proud of that. But then I wanted to gain a little bit of muscle.
That's the thing.
It changed
Yes. It's like we look at ourselves and we don't see it. And it's like you're literally, if you get any thinner, I'm going to ask you, people going to start asking what's wrong. Because we're so insecure about being fat, we don't see that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I remember I was working back in retail, and I started losing weight when I was working at retail. And I was working at a children's store, which was horrifying because at 230 pounds, we were told to talk to the children. No child finds it cute or funny when my big ass squat on the floor and was like, "Hey, princess, want to?" No kid thought that was cute or funny. But I was talking to a coworker back then. I had just started to lose weight, and I said my goal at that point was to hit 180 pounds. I said if I could be 180, I think I'd be good. And that coworker was like, that's a lot. I think you should I think that's probably too much. You should probably try to hang around 200 pounds. And this is back when I was 235-ish was my biggest.
Right.
And I was like, well, fuck you. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. But at the same point, like, no one thought that I could lose that much weight. So then it became that in my head.
You motivated by,
Where reality is, it should have been like, what is actually the healthiest point for me to land at? But in my head, I was like, I don't care. I'll lose another 10 pounds just to prove to you that I can be 140. And like, that's where looking back, I wouldn't say I had like I didn't have like a disorder, but for me, if I felt hungry in my mind, I was like, oh, the diet's working.
Right. I want to talk about like body image right now in our society currently.
Okay.
So for us women, of course, it's the fake boobs, the boobs that's up to here, big. It's small waist, big booty, and that's that's.
When did you get yours?
And by the way, everybody thinks that I have a skinny BBL. Everybody thinks that. And see, you know what's crazy? Back to like not being secure. They think I'm so fine. And I look in the mirror and be like, oh, God, I just need to get this tucked in a little bit. I need to. But everybody think that I got surgery. And it's like, how y'all think I got surgery? And I look at myself and go, ugh. And I don't want to be that way. I want to be comfortable because it's like other people view your body as goals and you're looking down upon yourself. And I thought, I used to think, because, you know, it was a thing to do, but do you think that the body, like the body type that they want us, like that's the ideal standard today and people want to be, do you think it's like you're insecure in a way if you're trying to if you like will go under a knife to do that?
Do I think you're insecure if you want like plastic surgery?
Basically, but not even plastic, because you can get plastic surgery just because you want a tummy tuck. Right. That's fine. But if you want to literally achieve that
you
goal,
want to take a rib out so you can look
that
like
goal that like Kim Kardashian, that's going to in a few years is gonna be the new thing to be back skinny again.
Right. Well, I always think it's funny. Well, the funniest thing I think I've ever seen with like body stuff is like in 100 years when people like, or 100 years, let's say like 1,000 years when people are like digging up our tombstones, it's gonna be all silicone and we're not gonna look anything like it. But I think that being that I'm not much older, but I'm a little older than you, and I will say this is what I think. I do think some of the body image stuff is an age thing, meaning like, you go through enough times where people tell you that you've got a big ass that you're gonna be like, maybe I do got a big ass. Like, it happens enough. So I do think if you want plastic surgery, get it. But I also think that you need to have a good friend that you can trust. If you're gonna spend all that money on the plastic surgery, spend all that money on a good friend who can sit down and just tell you when you're looking crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you want to get, like, we all have things. Listen, if I became a millionaire tomorrow, you wouldn't even recognize me. I would look like a Disney character. Bam, bam, bam. I would get everything done. But that's because in my mind, no matter how far I've come with my body image, there's still, like you said, I look in the mirror and like people, like a good example, you can't tell because I got these headphones on, but I have big ears. And even when I was a kid, my siblings used to call me Dumbo, and that has nothing you can't change them. That's not a weight loss thing. That's really only would be like a cosmetic surgery thing, and even like an earectomy is not a thing. They can pin your ears back, and that's about the best they can do. But I really sat there, and sometimes I'll think about it. Now, guys that I've met have told me they love my ears, and they think they're so cute. And they think, oh, and I will say, like, oh, I have big ears and they stick out too much. And they're like, no, that's so cute and makes you look so adorable and stuff like that. Eventually, like, in a perfect world, I would have got my ears pinned back and I would have, but eventually you realize, like, you fight your battles.
Right.
But you need that friend or you need that person, that confidant or somebody, you know, to sit you down and say, like, you're tripping if you need to get like your ears done, you want a tummy tuck, you want an ass lift, you want a calf implant. Like, there has to be somebody to kind of wrangle you in, because I think all of us could get addicted to it. And I do think if you had food issues in your life, you have a tendency for addictive behaviors.
Right.
Like,
right.
I think that I avoid things that I can get addicted to because I think I do have an addictive personality based on just how I used to eat.
I get, yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get exactly. I also feel like, does it shape your attitude? Like, if I feel fat, I'm like, don't talk to me. Like, I don't want to talk to, like, I'm in a bad mood if I feel fat, if I don't feel good about myself. I'm literally, I have a bad attitude, and
well, I've never seen you with a good attitude, so
I think, and I'm so concerned about image, and I think that I want to work through that, but we'll get to what we're gonna manifest later. But I don't want to be so consumed about image, because I have a lot of good stuff inside of me that, like, image is just, like, I feel like if I just let that be, so much beauty can be seen of me without doing the most.
Right.
You know, less is more, and but I feel like I be so focused on that. Like, I want to get my lips done.
Mm-hmm. We've talked about, which I don't think about. I mean, again, people would kill for your lips. Like, your lips are what girls are going for right now.
Yeah,
but you still
but those for the girls that then they want lips like me, but then me, I want lips like out there. But I mean, and maybe it is a form of insecurity. Most definitely, I am insecure about certain stuff. And I'm not ashamed to say that. Where do you think you are now with your insecurities? Like, how do you feel? Like, are you in a good place?
Much better than I used to be. I used to struggle when I was heavy. It was really hard. I also grew up like we all grew up with the story. You had your cousins. My older brother was always in shape, always had a girlfriend. You know what I mean? It just like made sense for me. And you know what it was too? A lot of the times in class, I always, to this day, in case you haven't noticed, I love attention. And the like little small cute kid would the teachers be like, oh my God, you're so cute. And I never got that, and it used to drive me crazy. And that added to that mindfuck of like, I'm just fat, and like nobody likes me, and it's because I'm gross. But like the kid in like, you know, that class gets the spotlight, and he's not even doing anything. He's just a small framed kid who's got big eyes and looks like a cute kid. Like, exactly. I wasn't like, nobody was ever like oohing and on over me as a child because I wasn't a cute kid. And I know I just wasn't, and that's why I said I didn't blossom until I was in my late 20s. But now I do think something interesting happened when I hit my 30s. So I started to get thicker. Like, I work out 5 days a week, which my body doesn't reflect it. But for somebody who's like the way I am, this is the most definition I've ever had. This is the best shape I've ever had.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've gotten thicker, and it's like that dad kind of thing. But luckily for me, in the gay community, it's great. Like, guys are really into it.
So they're into that. So that's the thing with me. It's like, I want to be skinny. I want to be little. But like my ex, Chris hates when I talk about Chris hates when I bring them. Chris be like, she always gotta bring her relationship into something.
There's always a man. Always a man.
But when I left from school and I came home, because I gained weight again. I didn't gain all of it back, of course, but I started to look thicker. And I hated hearing that. Ooh, like, you getting thick? I hated hearing that from family members. Yep. I hated that. Like, to this day, if you tell me I look thick, I'm like, I'm thinking thick. When you say thick, that's too damn close to being fat. I don't want to be thick. I want to be slim. Like, I don't want to be really skinny, but shit, it's like, my mind, I'll take that over being too thick.
Right.
Like, you know, but...
Well, I will say, though, so one thing a friend of mine told me is that no matter what you look like, somebody is attracted to you. And that was the biggest thing for me to realize, is like, damn, you're actually right. Somebody, now it may not be the person you're attracted to, but somebody in this world is going to find you attractive based on whatever you currently look like.
Right.
And then what I realized is I actually like thicker, chubby guys. And... like, some people I know would be like, oh, like, that's an interesting choice, whatever. And to me, like, I like them. I've dated them. I've, like, met them. I will go out. Like, I'm not, like, especially in the gay community, you know, like, in the gay community, I'm like, I always say I'm straight, skinny, fat, or I'm straight, skinny, gay, fat. Like in the gay community, this is not the ideal body. The ideal body is an 8-pack, and you're tall, and you work out, and you work out 2 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Okay, so that's for your community.
For my community.
Okay.
I go to Blink, and I work out for like 45 minutes to an hour.
We see each other.
Yeah, Kendall likes what she sees. But going back,
yeah.
You complimenting me that day. Kendall had seen me out, and she saw me at the gym and then saw me out and said in front of other people that she liked what she saw and that I looked muscly. That compliment, I rode that compliment all day. And it means I have been thinner for 12 years now.
Yes.
And I still, that little compliment, because it was so genuine.
And yeah, because I've never seen you, because you don't wear those, but you had like a tank top, and he was like really getting it in, like a dude. Like a fit person. Like you really into like the fit thing. And back on like saying compliments, literally, I was at work, and Marco was asking, he was like, who works out or whatever, and he was like, who works out once a day or twice a day? And the girls that I work with who know that I work out and like I'll leave and go to Blink after work, they was like pointing at me like, and I'm like, nah, I'm like the new fitness girl, that everybody, like, that makes you feel good.
It makes you feel so good. When it's a genuine compliment, you can always tell when it's a genuine compliment.
Yeah.
And, everybody in the world likes to get a compliment. I always say compliments are free, so are insults, and I'll use them both. But, like, a compliment to me, like, if you really mean it and you give it to somebody, you could change somebody's day. And you did when you said that I looked good in the gym. And it's just funny to me that still 12 years later, it was like, it'll still knock me back those 12 years where I'm like, damn, it's like the first person all over again.
Yes.
Especially for me, it's always something, too, when it is a girl who does it, because... Like you
ain't lying,
and you're also not going to gain anything from it. Like if a gay man tells me like, oh, you look good, there's maybe an angle. When a woman says it to me, I'm like, we ain't fucking.
But
so,
that's the same thing I get for gay men. Like I love when I get complimented by a gay man, because I know that like.
It's for real, right? We mean it. We have a higher standard. So
yes, and y'all do, especially when it comes to women. Like, because y'all like now. Because if I was one,
right.
I would.
I want to go back though and say, because I feel like we're talking a lot about like us and what we wanted to achieve, but I do think so. Going back to me turning 30 and kind of getting thicker, I realized the game changed in dating. Like guys were like into it; they really like the dad bod. Plus, I have like a hairy chest, so they're like, "Ooh, you're like." It plays totally into that fantasy. I like it. It works out for me, but I want to also say, like, the standard is in the gay community of the 8-pack and the working out all the time, whatever. I have been drawn to equal amount of men that look like that, and as I have with guys who are chubby or a little thick or whatever, and they're just as good. And I will always say this, and I stand by it, and feel free to prove me wrong, but I always say a chubby guy is the best in bed. The best.
I think skinny guys are the best, but for me.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Grandma.
Grandma
alert.
No. Okay, it's a few things I want to talk about before we close.
Yep.
So the first thing, I want to go back to the ex comment, because I don't want him to just think I brought him up for no reason, okay?
Oh, because he's listening? He's still stalking, scrolling. I know. I'm familiar.
So I just wanted to say, when I saw him again, he was like, you ain't never had no ass. Like, he was like,
wow.
All of this, like, he's like, where did you get that from? Like, all this time, like, you've never had none, and you just come. And a lot of guys in Texas are ass guys.
Right.
Then, like, I never had a problem with, like, anything. I do want to say this, because I want to put this person on blast. I never had a problem with anybody, like, looking at me or handle, like, I never had big girl butt problems, right? Like big butt problems, for like how girls have when they have big booties. And one time I got on a train with Ashley, and it was like hot, and I had like some like nice little shorts on, and like teenager, like 16 or something, smacked me on my butt. And I'm like, I kind of had to like catch myself, like it was that big, huh? Like it really attracted.
But wait, do you see how fucked up we are in the head? Because our first reaction shouldn't be, you were a little flattered. Don't lie, you were a little flattered. You were a little flattered.
And
I know. I went to a club once, right? And I went to a club and I was holding the hand of another guy. Like we were walking up the stairs to this club together here in the city, and we're walking up the stairs, and the way you, like when you go upstairs, you make a left and you go straight to the bar. So the guy is leading me by his hand, and then I'm walking behind him. All of a sudden I get the hardest smack on my ass. You know when they smack you so hard you stumble? Like I stumbled a little bit.
Yes, I like thought I was having a flashback when he did it to me.
And so I like looked around because I was like, this has to be like a friend of mine, like somebody being stupid. And I looked, and there was a guy there, and he just said, I just want to see if it was real. I should have been insulted, but because I'm fucking, like, we have this body image stuff that's always in our head, I was elated. Okay, no problem.
Hey.
And it's not a healthy thing. And I look back at that story, and I'm like, damn, like, you know, nowadays, like that guy who slapped your ass, especially now, like you could turn around and you could have busted him.
I could, and I was about to, but I had a late reaction because I'm like, dang, like I ain't never had my butt slapped before. I ain't never had that problem. Like I gotta hide this booty.
Right, yeah.
But last thing I want to discuss is going to be about how this generation actually, we have tools now that I love that helps us a lot with our body image. Like I literally, the reason why I started to work out and get up off my butt and go work out because I wasn't liking where I was heading back to is because on TikTok, there's so many fitness TikToks that encourage you. So shout out to like people of this generation that use TikTok for good because they'll literally be videos where they'll be like, just go 1 week. Go and just don't stop. Be consistent. In 4 weeks, you'll look totally different. Just don't stop. Just get up and don't stop. Then they have like challenges and like they have voices like go work out. Like, you know, these people motivate you. So I think TikTok is wonderful, and this generation using that to come for everyone to come together and get us in the best fit of our lives. Because all we see is like go under the knife. But there's some people, and it's a lot of people that are saying, no, just work out and then you'll see your results. And then they'll show like the before and after and all of that. It is so motivating because it's like if they look like that, then I know I can shed, like, you know, and then they give you information on all the stuff they did. So in that way, that's beautiful. And another thing I saw, the Dove commercial.
Oh yeah.
All of those different type of body types, and that was in the campaign. And like with modeling and stuff, like people are advocating for different all body types to be expressed. And we got models now. I was just at New York Fashion Week. I was working it, and I seen.
Were you working or were you working it?
No, I was I was in the background. I'm too short. But and then seeing, we need to talk about that too, because short people can be models, but it kind of don't look right. But it's okay.
Well, I think going into what you're saying though, and going back a little bit too, there is something for everybody.
Yes.
So some people would think a short model is great.
Right.
And there would be a reason for a short model, you know, and the Dove commercial and seeing a lot, and social media, seeing people really advocate for all body sizes, it is true.
Yeah.
Your body image, the image that you project to the world is not solely dependent on how much you weigh or how fat you are, how skinny you are. There's a whole thing, like you said, it's a confidence thing. It's how you put yourself together, how you present yourself.
Lizzo.
I mean, Lizzo is a great example because she came out from day one and was like, this is who I am.
Yes.
And she's gorgeous. And she's absolutely gorgeous. So there is something for everybody. So it is good to see different people represented. And if you don't feel like you are represented, represent yourself.
We're going to close it out, but before we go, I want to do the part in this episode where we manifest things about how we want to go on and like what the things that we're going to do to maintain our self-esteem when it comes to body image, because I think we'll always have it, but we just know how to manage it and be healthy with it in a positive way. But we'll always, you know, have that. This will always be like a conversation in our lives because it's just a part of who we are, and it made us who we are today. So I'll start. I might not give you 3, but I will.
3? I didn't know there was a homework assignment.
It was a homework assignment.
Oh, damn.
No, but it really wasn't a homework assignment because it's like after we talk about it, then we just express what we can do moving forward. So for me, I think I'm going to stay consistent with the gym. I manifest that I will stay consistent with the gym. And so I don't need to go so hard on myself because sometimes I'm busy and I don't get a chance to make it to the gym every week. I went for 2 months straight, but this week I have not went. I'll be honest, I did not go, but I've been really busy this week. But next week I got it. I'm gonna get back in, and I try to dedicate at least 3 to 4 times a day, and it has become therapeutic to go. But also when I go, like them guys that be in there trying to like be my trainer, like chill out, okay?
I mean that's right.
But also,
unless they're cute, and they can, and they have a good FICA score, then we'll talk.
And I thought about going over to Lifetime because I know let me be quiet because I'm like interested in stuff right now. I can't just be talking about.
That's the next. Is that next week on the? Okay, great. Next, we dive into Kendall's dating life and how wildly inappropriate it sounds. Sorry, Grandma.
Okay, yes, Grandma. She gonna be like.
She gotta skip this one.
She gonna be like, Kendall.
Is your grandmother British?
She just real. She sings when she talks. Hi, Kendall.
Let's get her here for the next one. I want to know her dating history.
Right. Yeah. Oh Lord, you don't want to know about them. But oh my God, and she's sensitive too. She's gonna say, "What did you mean by that?"
Well, now you called her sensitive, so she's gonna be like, "What did you mean by that?"
No, but okay. So I want to manifest that, and I want to stop being mad at myself. Like, stop downing myself. Like, look in the mirror like Mary J. Blige say and say, "Good morning, gorgeous." Like, even though I might have like a little pudge down here, it's cool. Like, you still that girl. Like, it's okay. And just continue to work on it. Continue to show up at the gym, do your due diligence, but don't make it so hard on yourself. If you can't wear certain things because you don't like the way it look, then so be it. So be it. With this weight journey, if you go all the way up, then you could keep going up, but if you work hard, you'll come back down.
Right.
Don't be so hard on yourself because it's possible. You don't act like nothing that's not possible. It's possible. You can be whatever shape you want. It's all about discipline.
Right.
So work on that. Don't even think about the work that it takes. Think about the discipline you have to have. So I think those two, and just I manifest to stop being so hard on myself when it comes to my weight. Like, girl, don't nobody. I'm not gonna say that. See, hold on. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say. Be gracious with the size that you are. It's attracted to grown men.
Also, a lot of this, I think, has been around like attracting men and stuff, but just like when you feel comfortable. You said you don't like when you're laying down and you can feel your pudge. So get to the point where you feel happy when you're going to sleep. When you're going to sleep, the last thing you're thinking about should be, I hate my body.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, though? You know?
100%. You always, listen, for me, it's not when I'm going to bed. It's when I wake up and I first kick my legs off the bed and you can feel your pudge hang over.
Yes.
To me, when it gets too much, but that's what I mean. Like,
and I like sucking in when I'm asleep. Like, I try to like it gets so I have such a like morphia about it. If that's the word, I don't know.
Body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
Always teaching the children. My God, just the next Mother Teresa. But you
I like suck my stomach
Yeah.
in when
Yeah.
I'm like sleeping.
Yeah.
Because I don't like that feeling of that pudge just
Right.
hanging like that.
Right. And
It's
that's a very
yeah.
like you said, it's a personal thing. If you feel so what I think is we've talked about men and dating stuff like that, but it's what you want. Like I said, don't worry about the guys. They'll be attracted. There is a man that is attracted to every shape and size. Don't worry about that. Worry about, like you said, if you don't like to feel a little pudgy when you lay down, well then make sure you don't feel that way, because that's gonna mind fuck you every time you go to bed, and every night you're gonna feel like that. That's stupid.
Right.
So that's where you have to get. If you don't mind that kind of pudge, but you hate your arms, okay, well then go work out your arms, or that's where I think we all need to get is like.
So you want to manifest that to do it for yourself? What do you
I
want
to manifest wearing a Speedo in public because I have never worn a Speedo at the beach, and that's like, I mean, that is gay 101. You will see a Speedo in every shape and size, and it's a confidence thing. Men look great, whatever, and there's, whatever. I didn't wear a Speedo. I was gifted a Speedo when I went to Puerto Rico, and I literally took pictures of me wearing it in my hotel room and never took it out of that hotel room. This is stupid. With an ass that's getting slapped at the club, I should be able to wear my Speedo, and who cares if I got a little chicho, I got watch me hang out, like, that's not a big deal. I should be able to I would love that level of confidence. When I go to the beach, you see all sorts of people in different shapes and sizes who just embrace it. Like, it's a hot day, it's the middle of August, you want to wear a Speedo to the beach, you should wear it.
Yes.
And that's where I want to get, is like, I want to put on a Speedo and I want to wear it in public. That's what I'm manifesting.
And I want to manifest that I get rich enough to get like a really good trainer, so where this body is like this body is like what I want. I just really want a flat ass stomach. I think when it comes to what I want, that's what I want. I mean, I got a big booty, so that's not a problem. I guess I just want to have a big, like the butt that I have now with the stomach that I had when I was really skinny.
Right.
Like, but it's like I have to learn how to maintain both, because if I lose weight, I lose the ass, I lose everything.
Yeah.
But if I gain weight, then the stomach comes too, along with the butt and stuff. So I just want to get to a point where I find somebody that could get me
all together. Everything you want. Yeah. Well, you're on your way, is what it sounds.
Yes. Yeah. I had a really good time. Wasn't this fun?
This was fun.
It's so like comfortable,
easy, and I could go for a snack though. So next time, maybe some like light refreshments.
Oh yeah, okay. I'll hook it up, bougie. I got you.
Appreciate it.
Comedian Chris Siretz.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, and we'll be back for next episode, you guys. I really hope that this helps anybody that's dealing with body image, just to like love yourself. We're all going through it. Like, people look at me and think that I'm fine and they're not. People look at you, like, we look at other people and be like, and we don't know what anyone's going through. I think it's just a way of handling your insecurities and how you feel about yourself in a positive way. Yeah, that's what it's about. And so I hope that this space that we created could help you get through some of your insecurities about body image. And we'll see you next time. Thank you. On the Kendall Doyle Show.